Our mics are hot.
All right. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. Chat is open.
Look out weekend, cause here I come.
Yeah, I got one more day. Probably do the show tomorrow.
Yeah, we need to talk about whether or not I can get control of it on Friday.
Oh yeah, you mean
Like if you give me the login,
yeah,
maybe I might do something on there. Maybe just for a little bit.
yeah, I give you the login, dude. You could do it.
We'll kind of figure that out. Also, we might need to have a special show because there's a company that may want to sponsor us to do a show in the afternoon, like a happy hour show.
Yeah.
Preferably on a day that you have the day off so that you can kind of turn it on.
Huh. I had a package delivered.
Chris Gonzalez already coming out with what outrageous take will Jimenez say today?
Oh. Let me go see what's up. I got a package delivered.
That's what she said. Well, that's what he said to her, rather. Chat lines are open, baby. Chat lines are open. What up, Matt Lerma? In the chat already. What's going on, San Antonio? My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is the Alamo City Sportscast, brought to you by the Alamo City Podcast Network. Joe Garcia producing today's show. It is Wednesday, the day before March Madness really gets going. Man, these play-in games don't do anything for me. But we're going to talk about March Madness, pick our Final Four, that's going to be coming up. We have a lot to get into today. Again, you can be part of the show by entering our chat, if you will. Enter the chat by following us on YouTube. Now 745 subscribers strong.
5 away from our goal.
5 away to 750, baby. And then we're going to make that march to 1,000. And at 1,000, we're really going to celebrate. Dude, we're also going to be having some giveaways next week. I got to talk to you about that. Nice. But we have some giveaways next week.
I got some Spurs tickets to give away, too.
Dude, I have a tablet that I can give away. That we can give away. Brand new tablet. We'll do that next week or the week after. I'm going to be in talks with the San Antonio Missions to see if we can do an event there for the podcast.
Nice.
Go out there, maybe get some free tickets.
Maybe you throw the first pitch.
Dude, maybe. But Carolina Teague did it. She did a fantastic job. I'd be frightened, by the way. I would do it, but I'd be frightened.
You'd be afraid you wouldn't make it to home plate.
Yeah. Dude, here's the thing, man. Baseball season started yesterday. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Oh, yeah. Baseball season's in effect, bro.
In South Korea, the Dodgers played the Padres, who are the parent team of the San Antonio Missions.
Yeah.
Did you see the woman who threw the opening pitch?
No, I did not see
She's a South Korean actress. Well, maybe we'll get into that in the entertainment section.
Is she the wife of the player?
No.
Okay.
No. She's just a South Korean actress, apparently really popular over there. When she went out onto the baseball diamond, and she wasn't dolled up or anything like that, she went out there, and the Dodgers players stopped in their tracks to watch her throw the first pitch.
They were smitten. Was she a Nugget?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And she wasn't all dolled up. Well, I'm going to put that down later. Yeah. South Korean actress.
Korean women are beautiful, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So we'll do that in entertainment news. Also in entertainment news, a sequel that I've been waiting for decades. The first pictures of the movie Beetlejuice Part 2 are out. Going to star Michael Keaton returning as Beetlejuice. I famously did not watch a lot of movies growing up.
I know that. I was going to say you watched Beetlejuice, bro.
Beetlejuice was one of the ones that was in heavy rotation in the Jimenez household. I love me some Beetlejuice. It was Beetlejuice and the Three Amigos on repeat at the Jimenez household. So very cool. We'll be talking about Wemby and Sohan. They clamped down on Luka Doncic last night, but it wasn't enough. Kyrie Irving giving praise to Victor Wembanyama, saying that, you know what? This guy needs to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year. And then also I pissed off a lot of people in the conversation with Carolina Teague yesterday about Kobe Bryant. A lot of people got pissed off. And you know what? That poll is still out there.
It's still doing its thing.
Is Kobe Bryant a top 5 player? Dude, if he wasn't dead, he wouldn't be considered a top 5 player. That has a lot to do with it, man. That has an absolute lot to do with it. In fact, we'll even do a deep dive into his stats to prove why he wasn't a top 5 player. But again, my name is Mike Jimenez, Joe Garcia producing today's show.
Yeah.
I'm excited because tonight I'm going to Las Vegas. My flight
You
is
got your
at,
vouchers.
is at 7 o'clock this evening. Here's the thing. I walked in with my envelopes.
Your vouchers. I call them vouchers.
So when I go to Vegas, my security service envelopes, I go and I take envelopes of cash. Now, the thing about it is this. I like to gamble.
Yeah.
I like to gamble a lot. But even if I get so drunk in Vegas, I know my limit when it comes to gambling. Okay? Because you take what you're willing to lose. But the thing about it is this, is that I have a lot of friends who go to Vegas who lose their ass the first couple of days and they're done. They're broke as shit the next three days, right? Day 3 and 4, they're broke. So what I do is I do what's called the envelope method. And I went and I have 5 envelopes, right? First envelope says Wednesday night, Wednesday PM. This is me for tonight. This is my Thursday morning money. This is my Thursday evening money. Friday morning, Friday evening, and then I'll have my Saturday envelope ready to go as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much money to take. It doesn't mean that I'm going to spend it, but I didn't know how much money to take. But I am taking in each envelope $1,000. And I think that should get me through because it's not like I'm going to do, I don't see myself spending all of it.
Unless you're going to a show. I mean, shows are expensive in Vegas, man.
Yeah, that is true. And then I'll probably do a nice dinner on Friday night.
Yeah, and probably spend at least $200 on dinner.
I've already bought my tickets to the Sphere. So they have a show that is kind of like the Sphere experience. I've already bought my tickets for that.
That's probably like $300.
Well, it depends. It depends on where you're sitting. So the Sphere has it's like an IMAX experience. It's like an hour and a half long show or an hour and 15-minute long show.
They have their sweet spots.
Yes. Okay. So the middle, the second level in the middle is considered to be the best seats because if you're down low, you're going to have to look up and you might have to hurt your neck. And if you're too high, you might not get the overall experience. So I bought the tickets that were center left. So it's one row from the middle. So if you go over there, if you want to be on the outside or if you want to be low or high, ticket prices, if you go on Ticketmaster, is about $99 a ticket.
Okay.
The ones I got were about $150. Now, the VIP ones, which is like the very identical, smack dab in the middle, right? Those are like $269.
Okay.
But that comes with drinks and it also comes with a shirt. So I was considering it. I was considering it. But man, I'm excited about Vegas tonight. I land there in Vegas around, 7:30 p.m. over there. So 9:30 San Antonio time. Yeah. I'll be at my room at the Mirage. Half an hour later, I'll be at the tables betting on something. Probably getting my March Madness bets in for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna go to the airport on a Wednesday evening. It's not gonna be too bad,
right?
So you don't have to arrive like 3 hours early or anything crazy like that. Because generally speaking, if you're gonna fly out, you want to do it in the middle of the week. If you're gonna go on a Monday or you're gonna go on a Thursday or Friday, and you're traveling, especially early in the morning, you have a lot of people that a lot of San Antonians don't know, but you have a lot of military that are going to various spots. So it's super packed in the mornings, especially like at 5, 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to get there early if your flight's leaving at 8.
Man, San Antonio Airport is so slow.
It's tiny too.
And I don't mind it. I don't mind it, because, I go to all these major cities because I travel a lot for work. I'll be traveling to Charlotte, North Carolina for work next month. So I'm going to be there for a few days and maybe do a segment from over there. Speaking of doing a segment, I'll be going to Vegas tonight. I'm going to try to do a show tomorrow over there. So what I'm going to need from you is when I get to the casino, I'm going to need to do like a check. If you can send me a StreamYard, just check the capabilities, whether it works with my AirPods, if the audio is fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to check that out.
We're using Talk Studio.
Streamlabs.
Yeah. But I'll send you the login and everything.
It's Jeff Garcia that uses StreamYard.
Yeah, he uses StreamYard.
So that's kind of why it's in my head. I'm an old man, dude. I can't. I can't. They're all Cokes. Okay, the Coke, Pepsi, RC. Dr. Pepper. They're all Cokes to me. But again, thank you for those who have subscribed. Hopefully, we'll give you some content from Las Vegas tomorrow.
Yeah,
10 a.m. over here, or 10:15 is 8:15 over there, but I'll be up.
that's a little jet lag. So you're gonna be up early, dude.
Well, I'm going to be staying up late, but I've been staying up late doing work right now because, I am self-employed.
Trying to catch up.
I am self-employed. So it's a weird thing because people say, well, Jimenez, how do you have a boss, but you're also self-employed and you're your own boss? That's just the way the financial world works. You work with different financial firms and you have to have relationships with them. So I am both simultaneously working for somebody and also self-employed.
Look at Ace. He says Jimenez
Gambling his client money.
What do they call that? The Ponzi scheme.
The Ponzi scheme.
Oh God,
Oh,
you're
my
not
goodness.
doing that.
You know what? But I was pretty excited because yesterday my client accounts crossed over the $11 million threshold and will be $12 million by the end of next week. So my business is growing. Once I get to 20, baby, I can semi.
I like this, Chris Gonzalez. He's still traumatized by the obstructed view from Hemisphere.
Hopefully, you're not behind a pole wall at the Sphere. That's very cool, man.
Good old Hemisphere.
Dude, Hemisphere Arena, man. You would sometimes buy these $5 seats. They were $5, and you couldn't even see the jumbotron.
Yeah, to be trying to peek over the pillar in front of you.
Yeah,
and sometimes it was so bad they even had like little TVs.
Yeah, or
that were mounted.
You'd see one side of the court,
basically, or you're up there by the pigeons, bro.
But no, I'm looking forward to Vegas. I'm looking forward to March Madness. The brackets are out, and before coming over here, I called James Pledger from San Antonio Sports Star, and I asked him, I was like, hey, who do you got in March Madness? Because I want to get people's opinion that I trust, that know the sport. And he was throwing a team out there that I had not really considered as being a Cinderella, if you will. And I don't know how you describe a Cinderella because a lot of people consider Cinderellas to be double-digit seeds. But what we're seeing right now is that there are 4 games right now where a double-digit seed is actually favored. But Pledger was telling me today from San Antonio Sports Star, he hosts extra innings at 6 p.m. Monday through Friday on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM. He was saying that he likes BYU to make a run to the Elite Eight. BYU right now the 6th seed. They play Duquesne in the first round tomorrow, 11:40 San Antonio time on True TV. If they get by Duquesne, they've got Illinois more than likely in the second round.
You know, it was embarrassing yesterday. The showing by Virginia, bro.
Yes.
I thought they would have at least tried. I mean, you got your ass handed to you by freaking Colorado State, bro. 67-42.
Right.
Wow.
And, the interesting thing is that I was watching ESPN. They were saying, what are the locks for upsets in round 1? A lot of them were saying before they even played Virginia, that Colorado State would crush Texas. Texas is a 7th seed. They're going to be playing Colorado State in the first round on tomorrow on TNT, 5:50 p.m. here in San Antonio. And I'm looking at that. Dude, there's so many injuries for Texas. Texas is so inconsistent. I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado State just rolled them. I think that the experts are picking that to happen. But if you look at the whole brackets, UConn, the number 1 overall seed, taking on Stetson. Obviously, that's going to be UConn. When it comes to the 5-12 matchup there in the East bracket, you've got San Diego State against UAB. UAB coming out of the AAC, formerly of Conference USA, by the way. So it's nice to see one of the Conference USA teams go out there and win that conference. You're looking at the fact that UConn has an easy path to the Elite Eight. On the other side of that bracket, Iowa State, which crushed Houston in the Big 12 championship, they've got a pretty easy path themselves in there, unless BYU does the upset like James Pledger is predicting. So really, I see that going pretty much as chalk for the most part down the stretch of the Elite Eight and to the Final Four on that side. In the South, you have Houston against Longwood. I mean, Houston, the number 1 seed in the South. I saw this article yesterday that said that most teams that make runs in the NCAA, that are the Cinderellas, are the 11 seeds. And they were doing a historical perspective on whether or not the committee got it right. And it says that from 1 to 3, seeds 1, 2, and 3, that typically the college committee actually gets it correct. And that when it goes from numbers 14 through 16, that typically they get it correct. So what's left? You have like 5 through 11 or 5 through 12. And they were saying that the committee oftentimes gets that wrong because they look at teams that come from the Power 5 conferences, that come from the SECs, that come from the even the Big East that's not a Power 5, but is one of the best conferences in college basketball, that they overvalue a lot of these teams from the Pac-12, from the Big 10, from the Big 12. And what ends up happening is that actually the teams that are coming in at 11, 12, and 13 are better than the teams that are at 6, 7, and 8. So it really shouldn't be considered to be an upset if a James Madison beats a Wisconsin. Even if a Vermont beats a Duke, it shouldn't be considered that much of an upset. Yale taking on Auburn. Now, I like Auburn, man. Auburn's a really good team. Yale, they lucked their way in at the last second over there. But if you look at these teams, Charleston, number 13, against Bama, who'd say Charleston can't take them out? Charleston is a good mid-major team. Bama is a, middle of the pack, well, slightly above the middle of the pack of the SEC. I mean, yeah, they're a top 20 team, but they're not a top 10 team. So who's to say that it's not going to happen? And the great thing about the tournament is that they nut up, man. Dude, the teams that are favored to win clamp down and get nervous if it's a close game down the stretch. That's why you see all of these like March Madness reels of highlights, or
who will rise up.
Yeah.
It says stuff like that.
Also, by the way, what I like about March Madness, and people don't even talk about this, is that if you are the higher seed, you're wearing white. Did you know that?
No.
Higher seed wears white or the light color. It used to be back in the day that in the NBA, the home team wore white, and now the Spurs wear black at home. And usually the team wearing white's on the road. In college basketball, if you want to know who's favored to win, who's wearing the white jersey? Because the white jersey is the lower seed, the one that's favored to win.
No, talk about that.
Tim Gonzalez is a little bit pissed off what I said. I actually said it for you, Tim. He goes, "Nah, my boys will beat Vermont." Probably will, but it's not going to be that easy, man. And that's the thing about it is you look at these schools right here that are these 11, 12, and 13 seeds. They probably have good guard play. They probably have players who've been there for 2, 3, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these top teams that are at 4, 5, and 6, they got people who've moved around the transfer portal, one and dones. It's experience. Look at the matchup between McNeese against Gonzaga. Gonzaga, who's one of the best teams in all of college basketball the past 3 decades. McNeese, the Cowboys, 30-3. They're 30-3 on the season. Do you think that they're coming in here thinking they're going to lose? Or do you think they come into this game thinking to themselves, we're 30-3 MFers. We're going to come in and we're going to go toe-to-toe with this team. And by the way, Vegas has taken note because Gonzaga, again, a 5-12 matchup. Gonzaga, who's one of the best programs in basketball, only favored by 6.5 points. I can get plus 225 right now on McNeese. That is a tasty game right there. But man, I'm looking forward to March Madness. I'm looking forward to the tournament. If I had to pick who I think is gonna advance to the Final Four, just so I can put my name on it. I like UConn coming out of the East or the 1 seed. In the South, I'm gonna go ahead and take another 1 seed in Houston. Right, so go chalk on that. Midwest, not a believer in Purdue. I would say that Tennessee, the 2 seed, comes out of that bracket. I'm never a fan of Arizona. I'm not a believer in North Carolina. I think that coming out of the West bracket, somebody strange is going to come out. Maybe it's a St. Mary's, not the one on Culebra, right?
We actually got Rudy Campos Jr. on the line with us right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him on.
Rudy, what's going on, man? Rudy Campos Jr., host of Sweep the League here on the Alamo City Podcast Network, Monday through Friday, starting in the late afternoons.
4 o'clock now.
4 o'clock.
Tip-off time.
So, Rudy, we're talking about the March Madness, which begins in earnest tomorrow for all intents and purposes. That's where we get down to 64. Looking at these brackets right here, we were talking about the fact that it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that an 11, 12, or 13 seed team wins because they're the best of their conferences taking on the middle of the pack of the Power 5 conferences. What are your thoughts on March Madness, and what are you looking forward to in the first couple of rounds.
With March Madness, it's always fun. It's in the title itself, Madness. And when I jumped on, I heard you about ready to talk shit about my North Carolina Tar Heels, and I was going to give you some crap about that. But nonetheless, man, the first round is going to be very interesting because I've actually, we were talking yesterday, I've got 3 teams that would not shock me if they made it all the way to the Elite Eight. One of them, coming out of that West bracket. I mean, you've got a really, really, really tough team there. And it's Grand Canyon, man. Grand Canyon is that team that everybody's talking about. A lot of people still sleeping on, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them go all the way to the Elite Eight. Drake's another one in the East, in the Eastern bracket. They're a very tough team. McNeese State is another one that people, I don't know, McNeese State, just McNeese, but they're another team that people are sleeping on. Those 3 teams are going to probably shock a lot of people and ruin a lot of people's brackets, with the exception of mine, because I've got them going pretty far.
The surprise team for me, and I'm a big fan of SEC sports beyond just college football, but I look at Auburn getting hot at the right time, coming in as a 4 seed. Now they're going up against a Yale team that was down 4 points with a minute to go in their conference championship, and they pulled out a miracle because the other team, which I believe was Brown, couldn't make free throws down the stretch. I'm looking at Auburn, and I look at that bracket, and I'm thinking to myself, I know North Carolina's. I know that there's some good teams in that bracket, but I'm looking at Auburn. I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't they make their way to the Elite Eight? I mean, they got Yale. I think they could beat Yale. I think they can beat the winner of San Diego State and UAB. And then they would have to battle up against UConn in the Sweet 16. And weird things have happened. I mean, Auburn plays, a pretty interesting style of play. I mean, they're a hard-nosed team. And I like the fact that you mentioned McNeese because, the darlings of March Madness for the past couple of decades, was Gonzaga. And Gonzaga has injuries. And McNeese is 30-3. They expect to win. 6.5 point spread there. Give me McNeese at plus 225 on that one, and I'll probably tease it as insurance on the way back. Give me it at a plus 10.5, and that'll be my safe bet when it comes to it. Some teams that I don't believe in though. First of all, you mentioned Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon taking on St. Mary's. St. Mary's typically the team that Gonzaga plays in their conference championship. St. Mary's taking on Grand Canyon. Like you said, those are 2 teams that can make a run. Charleston against Bama. Charleston, not a bad squad as well. I'm not a big believer in Baylor. I watch Baylor play, and for some reason, I just don't like watching them play. And they've got Colgate in the first round. They'll probably get by Colgate. But getting up against Clemson or New Mexico in round 2 might actually be pretty difficult. That New Mexico squad, might have some legs in it. I do like Tennessee coming out of the Midwest. I mean, I know I'll have Houston coming out. I've got Tennessee coming out. I got UConn coming out. But the West, man, the West is wide open, dude. I mean, if you want to say Grand Canyon, I wouldn't fault you. North Carolina, the 1 seed, dude. Izzo is the 9 seed with Michigan State. So I think the West is going to be the one where a Cinderella eventually comes out of it, either Elite Eight or Final Four style. That's the one that I look at. I think that's the most likely one, unless you believe McNeese is going to make a run past Purdue.
The West is probably the toughest bracket to decide on. I actually have my national championship coming out of the West, and that's Arizona. I picked them before the season started. Arizona is a really balanced team. They've got some great players on the team. I mean, when they get hot, they really get hot. So they're actually my national championship winners this season. But you're right on a lot of it. Don't be surprised, and this could very well happen with the injuries to Gonzaga and then the injuries to Kansas, that you see a second round of McNeese versus Samford, a 12-13. That is a very big possibility in the second round of the tournament, those 2 teams meeting up with each other. Honestly, I only have 2 1 seeds going to the Final Four, and that's Houston and Purdue. Florida Atlantic in the second round, getting past Northwestern, playing UConn, that is a very, very, very tough game to call. Florida Atlantic does have success in the tournament. They can give UConn a bunch of problems. It's the reason why I don't have UConn coming out, because there's another team in that Eastern bracket, and that's Illinois. Illinois
Mhm.
has massive guard play, so they're going to be ones to give UConn a lot of trouble. My Final Four is Illinois, Arizona, Purdue, Houston. Give me Arizona to hoist that trophy up.
The Texas Longhorns now know who they're going to play in the first round. They're playing Colorado State. Colorado State coming in as the 10 seed. They had to play the play-in, and they crushed Virginia in that play-in game. A lot of the experts on ESPN, the talking heads, are saying, man, the Longhorns did not want to play that team.
Yeah, man, they don't.
And Dylan Dessou's back on the court. Dessou sprained his knee against the Baylor Bears a couple of weeks ago. Came back and played in the Big 12 tournament. Got into foul trouble. Ultimately, they got knocked out of the tournament. But for me, man, I don't think he's been the same ever since that knee sprain.
Yeah,
I'm taking a look at the Longhorns. Very inconsistent.
They're
this
banged
year.
up right now too. Man.
Banged up, inconsistent. I don't see the Longhorns making any noise at all.
There's, like I said, they've been a streaky team, but right now I don't even think they got the streak in them right now. Banged up and everything, they're just limping in.
And Dylan Dessou, what is he, like 35 years old at this point?
Oh God, dude! You know what? One team that I do like. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know why I like them, but I do. I like Drake, bro.
Nice.
Nobody talks about Drake.
Drake is sneaky, and we're not talking about the Drake where you throw your bra on the stage. We're talking about the actual team Drake. And you're right, Joe. They're a team that I've actually said they could make it all the way to the Elite Eight. I mean, it's very possible. They're on the part of the Eastern bracket where, to be honest, they'll see Illinois if they get past. I don't see them losing to Washington State. I have them beating Washington State. They could easily beat Iowa or South Dakota State, whoever comes out of that game. I see them playing Illinois, and I think in my bracket I actually have them playing Illinois. In that part of the bracket. So that's a good pick. But the Longhorn pick, I'm going to be honest, it's going to remind a lot of people of another Texas team, and that is one that resides up in North Texas, the Dallas Cowboys. It's a one and done for the Longhorns. They're going to win that first round, and then they're going to be bounced by Tennessee in that second round.
All right, so this is where Demon Mike comes out. By the way,
no,
I don't know. Have you met Demon Mike there, Rudy? Talking to Rudy.
I have not. I have not.
I read this article and I saw DraftKings post this also on Instagram yesterday. It said that the last 3 years of Cinderellas have had something in common. They're both phallic synonyms for one's penis.
Oh,
the last 3 years, they've had Fairleigh Dickinson, you've had Oral Roberts, and you've had St. Peter. Okay.
Wow.
So what does that say about this year? Well, you've got a couple of teams here, Longwood, and you've got Morehead State. Which one of those is going to win? Because again, the last 3 seasons, something phallic has made a run as a Cinderella.
Well, Mike, Demon Mike is awesome, and Demon Rudy's just going to say this, that no man will ever turn down Morehead. So give me Morehead to make that beautiful run.
Morehead, the 14th seed, taking on Illinois tomorrow at 2:10 p.m. here in San Antonio.
I could see you doing a bit. You get all drunk and you're at the game. Morehead.
No. So the last time, I used to go to Vegas for March Madness every year, and I'm going tonight, so I'll be there. We'll hopefully be doing the show tomorrow from the casino. But I remember one time I bet a lot of money on Liberty to have an upset. It was like plus 400 or so, and it hit. And my friend and I are just skipping, literally like little boys, just skipping around the casino, singing the Liberty Mutual Insurance jingle. Liberty, 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 liberty. That's what Vegas is all about, my man. Do I need to place any bets for you, Rudy? What are you going to Venmo me to place a bet on?
Oh man, if I had to Venmo you one thing, I mean, I took Illinois for the Final Four, and if Morehead wins, I would never lose out to Morehead, because no man will turn down Morehead. But you know what? The bet I would probably give you, I would definitely do the McNeese. I would give you money for McNeese on that one. That's kind of the one that I'm fairly confident in and I feel good about. The one thing I won't, and I'm going to be honest, Mike, I don't take the topics from MJ Acquired Taste show or anything like that. I like to talk to you about him. And the one thing I will bet on is the fact that your Kobe Bryant segment, I hardly agree with you for whatever reason, but damn it, I agreed with you on that.
You see how things change,
Oh,
man.
Lord.
You know, as I said, and this is not me being a jerk, right? I am basically saying you do not go up the rankings because you died. He was a top 10. He was around 8, 9, or 10.
Look at Matt Lerma.
So
is Mike really gonna go do a deep dive to prove how much a beloved dead guy sucks?
Okay, you want to Matt Lerma?
Jeez.
Thank you so much for that, because I had a friend of mine reach out to me yesterday saying that, oh my goodness, Kobe Bryant was such a great shooter and all that. I was like, what Kobe Bryant were you watching? Dude, whenever someone says Kobe, it's never a straight up shot. It's always shooting a crappy ass low percentage shot, right? Here's Kobe Bryant's last 6 seasons in the NBA, which, by the way, he was an all-star, because Carolina Teague was telling me yesterday, well, he made the all-star team. Well, dude, it's a popularity contest when it comes to the starters, right?
Yeah.
So here's his shooting percentage, field goal shooting percentage, his last 6 seasons, 43% even, 46.3, 42.5. Dude, he was I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. So it goes 43%, 46.3, 42.5, 37.3, and in his final season was a 35.8% shooter. When it comes to 3-point shooting, his last 6 seasons, look at this horrendous numbers here. 32.3, 30.3, 32.4, 18.8, 29.3, 28.5. Dude, this is Sohan-esque. We make fun of how Sohan does not have the best offensive skills. This was the last 6 years, ages 32 through 37 of Kobe Bryant's career. And he did have that one season where he was injured most of the season. He only played 6 games. That I understand. But the belief that Kobe was this dead-eye shooter, Kobe Bryant for his career was a 32% 3-point shooter. For his career, 32.9%. For his career was a 44% shooter from the field. The guy was a ball hog. And oh, by the way, those Lakers teams in the last 6 years, what do they have in common? They weren't winning dick.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
It's funny because you bring up the percentage, and a lot of times I like to talk to people about percentages where, you had George Gervin. I mean, I think he was a career 50% shooter, but you got to imagine if you're going to jack up 30 plus shots a game, yeah, you're going to have a high scoring average. The chance of you hitting, 10, 12 are fantastic. You're going to hit that many if you're jacking up that many. But what I look at it too at the end is if you want to be a top 5 player of all time, you've got to at least be number 1 on your team. And that's not even the case.
I had that argument with my friend yesterday. I was like, dude, Shaq was the alpha on those teams. And my friend was telling me yesterday, he was like, yeah, but what about when Shaq was gone? He still won championships. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, he had Paul Gasol. He didn't do it by himself. And Paul Gasol was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Dwayne Wade. Shaq had Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. But, you need to have help from somebody. Kobe was a great player. Dude, he's a top 15 player easily in the NBA all time. Top 15. Yeah. When I have an argument, top 10, sure. You have an argument with me about top 5. What basketball have you been watching? Because the idea that this guy was the greatest Laker of all time is silly. When you've had Kareem, when you had Magic, when you had Shaq. No, he's not even top 2 all time among the Lakers. Sorry. That is revisionist history. It's because he's dead. Dude, that's just basically it. And I love Kobe's game, I guess you can say, but the fact of the matter is it was fun. But I'm not going to hear these arguments. And then people getting after me on Twitter saying, how dare I say that Steph Curry changed the game, but Kobe didn't? I said what I said. Steph Curry changed the game. Dude, I referee high school basketball. I go to college games. Guess what they're doing? They're doing Steph Curry games, Steph Curry type offenses. And you can kind of have the argument that it kind of started a little bit with the 2013, 2014 Spurs teams, but it got perfected a little bit by Steph and Clay.
Yeah, that small ball.
Yeah, that's what you see now. Like Steph, basically the Spurs walked so that Steph and Clay could run. And they changed the game. So that doesn't make me a hater. I just see it from the perspective of evidence.
I think what it is too is you've got the everybody already knowing you're the villain of San Antonio. So whatever you
Why
say
am I the
is gonna
villain?
be negative. But I don't disagree on the fact that Steph has changed the game in certain ways. I mean, yeah, you can travel more, you can carry the ball more, you can do a lot more, because him and Harden, a lot of these guys, you'll never get me to believe the gather step was part of the league, way back when.
Yeah.
That's just the whole BS type thing. But as far as shooting goes, the range for the Steph definitely has opened up the game a lot more. It's become a lot more less fundamental, more showcase is what it is. And that's what the NBA wants. They want to showcase. They want showtime all the time is what it is.
Now, speaking of I said what I said, people took offense. Young people took offense when I said this. They're like, how dare you have Kobe Bryant listed under Larry Bird? I said what I said. Larry Bird was the man. He was the equal to Magic Johnson. If it wasn't for those back injuries,
yeah.
I mean,
no, they had some pretty epic matchups, man.
And he led those Celtics teams. He was the head guy of those Celtics teams. Yeah, they had Parrish and Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge and all of those players back in the day. Kevin McHale.
Mm-hmm.
But that was Larry's team. Much like in the 80s, Showtime Lakers was Magic's team. Were the Lakers ever Kobe's team? They were Kobe's team in the late 2000s, when they were battling up it with Pau Gasol and all that stuff. But I always considered it to be Shaq's team. Shaq was the most dominant force back then in the late 90s when they were winning titles back then, or early 2000s. It's not a disrespect. It's just factual, man. It's factual. Dude, Larry Bird was amazing. Mm-hmm. And the people who give him crap, you know what? It's because he's white. That's why they give him crap. They don't believe it. Dude, whenever you listen to Steven Jackson and you listen to Draymond Green and all these podcasts talk about Larry Bird, I'm glad that they do, because they remind people about how brilliant of a player he was. And I couldn't stand Larry Bird growing up. I couldn't stand him. I was a bad boy Pistons fan. Like, my favorite player growing up, that my favorite non-Spur, my Sancha team was the Pistons. Okay. I was a Spurs fan growing up. I was an Alvin Robertson, Mike Mitchell, and then I became a Johnny Dawkins fan, then a Willie Anderson fan, and then, oh my God, we have David Robinson. But my Sancha team back then was the Pistons. And whenever I'd go play ball, at Joe Ward or at Miller's Pond or whatever.
No,
or Garza Park or Just for Feet.
Oh, God.
Everyone wanted to be Jordan, right? Everyone wanted to have their game be like Jordan, have their game be like Barkley or Dominique or whoever. The guy that I looked at and I was like, man, that I would want to study was Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars was that guy, man. Defensively was brilliant, and he very rarely messed up offensively. That bad boy Pistons team, dude, I love that team.
That bad boy Pistons team was one of the dirtiest teams that I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Bill Lambier's antics underneath the rim. I'm surprised more people didn't get injured with that son of a bitch.
Oh, I know, man. I know.
And Joe Dumars is the greatest. I mean, he's considered Michael Jordan's, greatest defender.
Yeah.
I mean, period. There was no better defender on Jordan and factually on anybody else in the league at the time. Joe Dumars was one of the top guys.
Even Jordan said he was exhausted just trying to go up against him, man.
Mario Cavazos reaches out to us and says, hey, when talking about the Lakers, don't forget about AC Green, the Virgin. That was a thing, man. Magic was getting all that ass, and then you know what happened to him after that.
Oh, Lord.
That was a
Magic
thing.
ran so AC could walk.
that was the thing. By the way, speaking of those teams from the 80s and 90s, and this is where the young people need to listen up about this. Bad boy Pistons, the personalities of the sport. When you had Showtime Lakers, you had the Celtics, Bad boy Pistons, then you had the Jordan's Bulls. But then in college, you had UNLV, the Running Rebels with Larry Johnson. And then you had the Fab Five, who didn't win anything, but they went far.
Yeah.
But man, the gold jerseys, the blue hat with the yellow etching in it, Michigan, and then you have Duke. I was the only guy in my neighborhood who was cheering for Christian Laettner. And maybe that's why I'm the villain here in San
Who
Antonio.
was that other dude that got all tatted up when he came to the NBA? He was already there. Dakota, or what the hell was his name? What was his name, Rudy?
Who, Big Country?
No. It was another guy.
Brian Reeves.
Yeah.
Brian Reeves.
He played for the Spurs. Remember, he was all tatted up right after Rodman.
Cherokee
Parks. There you go. There you go.
Dude, I loved Christian Laettner. And those are plays, you know, the Grant Hill throw to Christian Laettner, the touchdown pass to him, and you know, the fadeaway, and just Bobby Hurley. Dude, them getting spanked by Duke getting killed, and then coming back the next season and beating UNLV.
Jeez, man.
Dude, Tarkanian biting the towel.
Just didn't translate well though when they came over to the NBA level. Like Laettner didn't have like a historic career, and Hurley was horrible.
We talked about Hurley had an accident.
He had an accident.
Yeah. So did Jay Williams.
That was Jay Williams as well. But that's what we talked about yesterday on Sweep the League. Was I made the argument. You know, Duke can produce the greatest college basketball players, but when they get to the pros, what the hell have they done? None of them. I wagered you. I said I put up one Michael Jordan and James Worthy against all your Duke players in the NBA.
Yeah,
and that's only two players. Yeah. I mean, I will admit, you know, when it comes to college basketball, I consider Christian Laettner, probably one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. I won't ever talk good about, you know, Duke outside of, you know, when I have to tell the truth, because I hate that fucking school. But at the same time, Laettner for me, and I was asked what was the greatest college basketball game that I ever saw. For me, it was Kentucky Duke when Laettner hit that jumper, that fadeaway jumper at the free throw line. That, to me, that's probably one of the greatest basketball, you know, college basketball games I've ever seen. So I can't disrespect Duke when it comes to, you know, their college basketball. But you're right, man. The UNLV, I mean, you can go back to UConn days when it was Rip Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin. I mean, you've got, I remember when Kansas was dominating with Rex Walters and Adonis Jordan in the backcourt. I mean, there's so many teams in college basketball, and that's what makes college basketball so good. Don't even sleep on the women's Final Four.
Not this year. Yeah, by the way, Hanover Fist is reminding us about, we're talking about UNLV. We're talking about Duke from back in the day. We're talking about the Fab Five. It says, don't forget about Georgetown. Back in the day, Patrick Ewing playing from 81 to 85. Reggie Williams was also playing along with him. Alonzo Mourning Zoe from 88 to 92. Then Allen Iverson in the mid-90s dressed up for the Hoyas.
Hey, Rudy, Jeff Garcia is in the chat. He says, tell Rudy we're talking about Trey Jones Duke on his next Los guest spot.
And you know what? That's what I don't understand. If I'm on Locked On Spurs, there's always a Duke mention. Every damn show I do on the Alamo City Podcast Network, somebody's got to bring up Duke. Who in the F decided to bring up Duke when I'm on every damn show?
So you're a UNC fan? Is that what it is? What am I?
North Carolina.
I am a Tar Heel. I'm a diehard Tar Heel fan. So everybody gives me shit about Duke all the time.
I'll tell you a story that you might like then. And it has nothing to do with sports necessarily.
Tall tale?
No, it's not a tall tale. I work a lot in North Carolina because I represent one of my firms is based out of North Carolina. So I go there all the time, and I go there maybe once or twice a year. And I like to get there a day before so I can kind of just meander my way around. And that's an area there that has UNC, Duke. UNC and Duke, by the way, are just a handful of miles away. It is very close to each other. But then you also have Wake Forest in the area. You have NC State. You have UNC Greensboro. North Carolina has a lot of basketball talent up and down that road right there. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I was walking around and I was looking for, you know, some gear, you know, just some T-shirts or whatnot. And I was looking around and I noticed that there was only a couple of schools represented at this one store. And I asked this guy there, tell me about like the fandom here. What do I not know? And they said that the hierarchy of schools of fandom for residents of North Carolina, by far, number one is UNC. This is number two is NC State.
NC State, yep.
Number three is an HBCU that's in the area, right? I think it's App State. Mm-hmm. Then they say Wake Forest and all that stuff, and they said bottom tier, the one that no one cheers for, is Duke. And they said Duke is in our state, but we do not cheer for them as a state because they said UNC students, the student body, they're from North Carolina. NC State, they're from North Carolina. App, North Carolina. Wake Forest, North Carolina. You go to the Duke campus, there ain't nobody from here. It is a commuter school, if you will. People are going there to get their degrees from other states, other countries, and they said that the Duke fandom does not exist there. Found it to be because he wasn't the only person who told me that. I asked 2 or 3 other people around town if that was the case, and I wasn't in Chapel Hill. Okay, I was in Greensboro asking this question, but still, I found this to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a fact because I know people from North Carolina and they do not. I mean, they will tell you the exact same thing that Duke is. It's actually a hated school in their own state. I mean, they don't really like it, and I mean, you're right. There's no representation of North Carolina at that school. It's from everywhere, and to be honest, when it comes to Duke, Jimenez, Demon Rudy will come out too and say this much is people want to win the lottery. People want, to retire a billionaire, all that. I want to go fucking Ozzy Osbourne on Cameron Indoor Stadium and just take a gigantic piss on that damn gymnasium. If I can do that, then I can die a happy
man. Wow.
Yeah, I know, Rudy, you're going to have to leave us already because you got to get back to work, man.
I do. And this was, we're going to do this again, I guess, on Wednesdays. We're doing the
we can make it happen.
Wednesdays or whatever you want to call it.
Wednesdays with Rudy.
And remember, if there's anything I got to take away from this, Rudy, Moorhead is always a good thing.
God.
Hey, you can take that. You can go ahead and coin that phrase. Whenever you bet on Moorhead, it's always a good thing.
So, hey, Rudy, before we leave, you're going to be doing Sweep the League today at 4:00.
Yeah, Sweep the League's coming to everybody at 4:00 now. We're your drive home, so be sure to tune in. You can have fun with this, talk sports. I believe Derek will be back today, so we're going to talk some old NBA basketball like we always do. So be sure to tune in 4:00, Alamo City Podcast Network.
All right. Thanks, Rudy. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Later.
So I'm taking a look right now at tankathon.com, showing that the Spurs right now, if all things were to go to form this year, would have the number 2 and, well, actually, no, because I simulated the lottery here. But it's possible the Spurs could have 2 first-round draft picks. But I'm looking at where these players are coming from, right? The number 1 player they have on the board right now is Nikola Topic, who's an international player. Alexander Sarr, international player. Zachary Reese-Shea, who's, by the way, has struggled the last couple of weeks, international star. The top player in the U.S. right now is Cody Williams out of Colorado.
Yeah.
Followed by Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky. So maybe we want to watch some Kentucky games along the way. Ron Holland is in the G League. Buzelis is in the G League, international player. Jacoby Walter, look at that. So out of the top 10 players projected in the NBA draft, only 4 are in the March Madness right now. Jacoby Walter, therefore, Baylor. Stephon Castle, number 11 out of UConn. Then you've got some players from Tennessee and UConn and Duke to check out along the way. But, that just shows the way that things are. And that's why Rudy mentioned the fact that the women's tournament might actually be more fun to watch because you have rivalries going on there.
Yeah, you do.
You have South Carolina, which was undefeated all the way to the very end of the Final Four. Then they got knocked out by Caitlin Clark in Iowa. And then LSU comes in and beats Iowa, beats Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese does her thing and gets criticized after the fact. And now you come back, South Carolina making another run undefeated. And they get into a fight with LSU a couple of weeks ago that was pretty epic, and 6 players got ejected. Dude, I like the women's game better this year.
The women's, I think, tourney is really something that everybody's excited about because a lot of these teams, their players have stayed with the team for about 3 to 4 seasons, 3 to 4 years already. So they've really built this chemistry, and they're very competitive, more so than the men's. And they have this history between them, when you're going up against different various teams and whatnot, rivalries, player matchups and whatnot. It's very intriguing.
And people are pissed that in the same bracket, you've got Iowa as the 1 seed, UCLA as the 2 seed, and you've got LSU as the 3 seed. They're like, how are those 3 teams in the same bracket? Because you want to see those teams in the Final Four. How dare they lump them together. That's what's crazy about it. I don't think LSU is getting the love that they should. They're the undisputed champion, right? I mean, how did the undisputed champion with their record going toe-to-toe with South Carolina get the 3 seed?
Yeah, you know what's funny to me too? A lot of people are always wondering. They ask me, how do you get the audio from the phone into the show? I'm like, this little USB dongle device that I picked up off of Amazon.
Yeah.
I just plug it into the phone via USB-C, put it in the mixer. It's a mix minus.
Mix
Boom,
minus,
there
baby.
you go, man.
Make it happen.
Making it happen, man.
Now, the Spurs almost made it happen last night. The Spurs were in it to the very end against the Dallas Mavericks, but they lost at the Frostbank Center 113-107. Spurs dropped to 15-54 on the year, 8-25 at home. Kyrie Irving had a big game for the Dallas Mavericks, scoring the last few buckets there, 28 points and 7 rebounds. The big news of the game, though, because really the wins and losses don't matter anymore. But the big news was at the very end, seeing how the Spurs handle Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic had a triple-double, but it was an odd triple-double because you would look at it and you say, okay, 18 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds. Okay. But he was also 6 for 27 shooting. 6 for 27. Knocked down only 2 of 11 3-point attempts, and it's because he got harassed all night by Victor Wembanyama and Jeremy Sohan, chasing him off the 3-point line, or at least putting a hand in the face. And every once in a while, our guys get under his skin. But Luka Doncic is so great that even on a horrible shooting night, gets 16 dimes. The guy is just we talk about Wemby being a cheat code for guard play. I mean, that's exactly what Luka Doncic is. He's a cheat code. Yeah. Now, he only got 5 free throw attempts, which is odd because that guy goes to the line
quite a bit
all the time. Now, for the Spurs, Trey Jones had the most points, 22 points. Devin Vassell had 19. Not a very good shooting night for Wembanyama, 3 for 13, missed all 4 3-point attempts. But he had 11 rebounds. He also had 6 blocks. The guy just blocks everything. Sohan, also a bad shooting night, though he did hit 3 3-pointers. He was 4 of 15 for the night. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. But defensively, did a pretty decent job. Again, the Spurs fall to 15-54. Now, after the game, interviews. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, Ken's 5, is also talking about this on his Twitter page about the fact that Kyrie Irving after the game, who is somebody who's not the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Okay. But he gave Wemby his flowers and said Wemby really needs to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year. Talked about how he had a play. Now, Kyrie is one of the best point guards in the NBA, not only right now, but the past 10 years. He drove in, said that he was going left, went right, easy layup, and then he got swatted and was like, where did that come from? And he was talking about the wingspan of Victor Wembanyama and saying something to the effect of Wemby is doing what everyone needs to be doing if they want to win Defensive Player of the Year. That the guy is a solid defensive player. And then others are giving Sohan his flowers by saying that he was playing lockdown defense yesterday. Still wasn't enough to win because, again, it's a bad shooting night for the Spurs. But the fact of the matter is that on a defensive side, holding a Dallas team to 113 points wasn't that bad of a deal. The Spurs need to knock down some more shots to win the game.
They had the game within 1. They closed it in within 1 point. I think they had the lead at some point for just a little bit. And then I blinked and I looked, and because I was watching it while I was working. And then, of course, Dallas was up by a couple, and then they just put it away. Spurs just didn't have an answer down the stretch. And, of course, they got outplayed by the Mavericks, which are a better team.
Yeah, and the Mavericks averaged 119 points per game. And as Hand of a Fist mentions, a lot of people talked about this. The Mavs were standing far away from Sohan, daring him to shoot. And Sohan was chipping the paint off the rim. Sohan is not the best shooter. He's just not. And I like the little baby hook he has. I like the drive-ins that he does. He can create a shot from time to time. But I don't trust it when it comes to 15 feet and beyond.
Jeremy's best moves that he does are inside the paint. Maybe 10 feet away.
Instinctual moves.
Yeah.
Not the setup jumper. It's instinctively doing a drop step. It is driving towards the basket, rolling towards the basket.
Well, some of the things that I've seen him do that I think he should go to more is at times it seems that the Spurs finally recognize that Jeremy has the mismatch.
Mhm.
They'll feed him the ball. He's inside the paint. He knows that he has the mismatch. He'll go ahead and back his opponent down, his defender down. Then he goes and gets deep inside the paint and easily either just does a little hook shot or a little layup, and he's using his body, to its fullest potential at that point against his, the mismatch that he has. I like that about Jeremy. When he plays aggressive like that with his back to the rim, good things happen for him, especially if he has a mismatch.
What's weird about it is that some of the things that he does good offensively are the hardest things to teach people. Some of the things that he does worse, like not any good at all, should be the easiest things to do. It's so bizarre. He's an enigma of a player. Don't look now. The Houston Rockets are making a move right now because they're trying to get into the play-in tournament. The Rockets have now won 6 in a row, 33-35 on the season. They're knocking on the door of being 500. They're just 2.5 games behind the Golden State Warriors for that 10th spot in the play-in tournament. Right now, if the season ended right now, the 6 teams that would be in the playoffs would be Oklahoma City, the Denver Nuggets, who are both tied for that 1 spot. Oklahoma City ahead by percentage points. Number 3, you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves, Clippers at number 4, Pelicans at 5, the Sacramento Kings at number 6. And as of now, the play-in teams are Dallas, Phoenix, the Lakers, and the Golden State Warriors. Again, we've got about 12 to 14 games left in the season, depending on the team. Spurs right now 15-54. Right now, knocking on the door of yet another lottery berth. But when it comes to the odds of the Spurs getting that second first-round pick, Toronto has a top 6 protected, remember? And right now, Toronto has the 7th worst record in the league, but they've lost 7 in a row and 9 out of 10. So they're sinking like a lead balloon. I wonder if they're doing that hoping to keep their pick. But the more I think about it, the Spurs don't get that pick. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just don't care. Now, Jeff Garcia asked me this question on Locked On Spurs yesterday. It's coming out today. So actually, it already came out. He dropped it today. So go to Locked On Spurs. You can go watch it on YouTube, or you can, as I do, subscribe to it on Spotify. He was asking the question, a couple of things, whether or not it would be disrespectful if Wemby did not get voted for Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe not win it, but at least miss out on votes, like Bill Simmons from The Ringer was talking about how he may leave him off the ballot. But the other question was about the Spurs and the future of this team. And what happens if the Spurs get a top 3 pick? Would Atlanta take less draft capital for Trae Young if they knew that the Spurs were holding on to a top 3 pick? And I had never had that question posed to me, and I found that to be interesting because when we think of picks, the Spurs right now, with the 3rd worst record in the NBA, theoretically could draft as low as number 7. I mean, it is mathematically possible to draft at number 7. In fact, when you look at the odds, the Spurs have a 7% chance of drafting 7. The highest percentage chance, number 20, is a 26% chance, is of them drafting number 6. So you add those two together, a 33% chance that the Spurs are drafting 6 or 7. 1 in 3. You might think to yourself, well, that's not a very good odd. I mean, it's 2/3 of a chance of you drafting in the top 5. Remember, the Spurs won Wemby at a 14% chance.
Yeah, number 1 overall chance.
Right. So the Spurs have a 15% chance right now of being the 5 team, picking number 5. Very reminiscent of last year when Detroit picked at number 5, when everyone was surprised that they didn't get into the top 4. You've got the Spurs with a 12% chance of picking 4, 13% chance of 3, 13% chance of 2, and essentially a 14% chance of drafting number 1 overall. So on the bright side, you can say, well, there's a 40% chance of them drafting in the top 3, but there's also a 50% chance, essentially, of them dropping from 5 to 7. That's what the lottery is, right?
Yeah.
That's what the lottery is.
Hey, so let's go ahead and pause real quick here as we go ahead and do a quick segment here for Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at JeffG10s5SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at JeffGSpursZone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Jeff Garcia, again, Locked On Spurs, Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and Threads. He has an article right now about Charles Barkley going off on the city of San Antonio again, saying something to the effect of that the Riverwalk is a dirty old creek, goes off on the Alamo, the size of the women here in the Alamo City. So if you want to hear more about what Barkley had to say and explain why he's just, quote, having fun with the city of San Antonio, there's an article there by Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. It's also on Kens5.com. Barkley made his comments on the Stephen A. Smith show when talking about the city of San Antonio. I think part of it is that San Antonio was a rival to his teams back in the day when he was playing for the Suns, when he was playing for the Rockets.
Yeah.
We were a rival team. It's a little bit of truth to what he says. I mean,
a dirty old creek. Come on, man. The Riverwalk.
The Riverwalk's fine. I'm not going to go.
It's not the cleanest water. I'm not even going to lie, man. But it's what San Antonio is known for.
Yeah, you know. Okay, so let's talk about the Riverwalk. Okay, I want to be pro Riverwalk. I'm not going to take a crap on the Riverwalk. Okay, but I will say this: the Riverwalk was nicer back in the day. And I know that there's going to be additions to the Riverwalk, and there's phases going on right now to extend possibly to San Pedro Springs.
Yeah, San Pedro Creek,
which is near Sac.
Yeah.
What I like about what I hear about the plans, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but this is what I heard back in the day, was that they were not going to allow chain restaurants to be there. That is my problem with the Riverwalk.
Yeah, the chain restaurants.
The Riverwalk used to be mom and pop restaurants. And then the occasional bar would pop up. Mad Dogs would pop up, something like that. But now you go there, it's Landry's. It's Dick's Last Resort. It's the county line. It's crap that you can get on I-10.
Yeah. It's just more expensive.
Yeah, because of the view.
Yeah.
That's my gripe about the Riverwalk. I want it to be better. It's a tourist place. But if those are restaurants you can get back at home, Hard Rock Cafe. Well, but Hard Rock is not. I guess that is on the Riverwalk.
Yeah, it's on the Riverwalk, the back entrance.
Yeah, there needs to be a personality of the city back on the Riverwalk, at least to the new extensions, because I don't want to go to Outback Steakhouse. I know there's not one there, but if they open up an Outback and they open up a Las Palapas, although I love Las Palapas and I had that for breakfast today, that's not what I want to see. I want to see a local. Well, I guess LP could be a local flair, but I just that's my problem with it. Just make it more San Antonio.
They have La Gloria, and La Gloria has a presence on the Riverwalk on the back area when you go in. You know, when you go into the back side of La Gloria.
And that's why the Pearl is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the Pearl can be very, very expensive. So it all depends. Let's get some entertainment news in, man. Do we have the bump?
We got the bump, man.
Okay, as you guys know, I did not watch a lot of movies growing up. Okay, I didn't see Star Wars. I didn't see anything like that growing up. I didn't watch GoBots or Transformers. I still haven't seen Superman.
Oh, the original Superman?
The original one.
That's a good one.
But let's show this photo real fast.
Let's see.
This is interesting. It's one of the first images, according to discussingfilm.com, also on Twitter at discussingfilm. The first look at Michael Keaton returning as Beetlejuice in Beetlejuice 2. And I tell you what, I cannot wait.
Why though?
I love Beetlejuice.
You really do?
Beetlejuice is one of my, if you were to say my 20 favorite movies of all time, not on my Mount Rushmore. But if I had to say 20 favorite movies of all time, Beetlejuice is somewhere on that list, man. I loved that movie growing up. Winona Ryder was in that movie. Catherine O'Hara
Yeah.
who was big back in the day for her comedic talents. Then later on was Moira Rose on Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And her character in Schitt's Creek is pretty damn funny. Dude.
Yeah.
Remember that bit they did where she was doing the crow, or they had some film she was doing with crows?
The crowing. The crowing. Yeah, that was a great show.
Oh, man.
But this got me thinking, Jenna Ortega is going to be on Beetlejuice too, so she'll take over for that. Some of the great lines of Beetlejuice were amazing. I love the fact when he's in line, and this is now survey number 5, and he's holding on to 144 billion. He's in hell. he switches it. They shrink his head. That was good. I loved Beetlejuice. Everything about it was a great movie. So Sith asking the question, Shawshank Redemption on your top 20? Damn straight it is. Always will be. Is Keaton the Batman? It's what Joe Gonzalez asked, and the answer is yes. When I think of Batman, I think of Michael Keaton. I don't think of Christian Bale. I don't think of anybody else. I don't think of Ben Affleck or George Clooney. It'll forever be Michael Keaton. Very much like the Joker to me is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. He was a great Joker, by the way, man.
But you know what? We weren't going to go here, but let's talk about Michael Keaton movies real fast. Is it possible? We talked about Bill Simmons from The Ringer. Back in the day, he had an article where he was saying that if he could identify a certain player to a movie star, like assign them like like basically what are the parallels? He one time said, and I thought this was very good. He said that Tim Duncan was the Harrison Ford of the NBA.
Okay, I could see that.
You have the dynasties. You have the big winning championships of Harrison Ford with Star Wars, right? The Star Wars franchise.
Indiana Jones.
But then even in his later years with The Fugitive, what's it called? The Air Force One or
Air Force One.
So you talk about those movies, and he says the worst Harrison Ford movie is still very good. And very much like Tim Duncan's worst year is still pretty good. So Bill Simmons back in the day said Harrison Ford is Tim Duncan. But he said that there's some teams that are like you might have like a Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan would be Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Flashy, stuff like that, right? But one of the things that he brought up back in the day, and I was thinking about this, he was asking about certain actors and wanted to know, like, who are the best actors of the last 25 years? Last 25, last 30 years. Is there somebody that's under the radar? And he brought up a couple of names, but the one name that he didn't bring up that I want to bring up is Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's career is pretty freaking impressive, man.
Remember Mr. Mom? They brought this one up right now.
Mr. Mom, yes, hilarious movie. Dude, you want to know a funny movie? Johnny Dangerously.
Oh yeah, they said that right here. Look at that.
Oh, really? Okay, so Sean Quintero, Johnny Dangerously was a hysterically funny movie with Joe Piscopo. My father one time hung me by the coat hook once. Well, let's look at the movies that he has done, right? The highest rated movies that he has done. If you go back in time, I mean, Johnny Dangerously was a good movie. We mentioned about Beetlejuice. He is Batman. He was a Night Shift back in the day. Batman Returns. You can just keep going on and on and on. He was in Spotlight, which won Best Picture. So many good movies. Even some of the little bit roles that he has done, like he was in The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
That movie's freaking hilarious, bro.
when he's doing the TLC movie, the TLC references the entire time.
Yes, man.
Everyone just creep.
I liked it when he was hitting, was it Will Ferrell with the freaking wooden gun?
Yeah.
I got a splinter. Remember he said, I got a splinter.
He was also in Jackie Brown. He was in animated movies, Cars, Toy Story 3, and also Minions.
He even came out in the latest Spider-Man movie there.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming. He was the villain. He was the Vulture. So he can do it all, man. He's a great actor, dude.
Oh, he was in Birdman, which won,
Birdman was
lots of
a good
Oscars.
movie.
Dude, he was in The Founder I love the founder about the creation of the McDonald's Corporation.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies the last 10 years is the founder. One of my favorite movies the last 10 years was also Spotlight, which won Best Picture. He's just done so much. He's also going to be in Beetlejuice. Does that mean the third one's going to be called Beetlejuice? Yeah.
Maybe.
You're
looking around. Oh, no.
So the new movie is going to be produced by Brad Pitt. Did you know that?
Had no idea.
Beetlejuice sequel is being produced by Brad Pitt. It's going to star Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega, Monica Bellucci. Hello. Catherine O'Hara making an appearance again, along with Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, one of the ugliest MFers in movie history.
Oh, man. He's a great actor.
He is,
man.
dude. He is. In the Spider-Man movies as well.
Yeah, he is.
Joe Gonzalez. No scrubs. No scrubs.
No scrubs.
Says, chill, Mike. You almost summoned him.
You know what? Let's also give some love here as when we can right now to our boy Chris Leha, and he was over there at your house recently getting you ready.
Yeah,
to go,
he'll be doing stuff at my house. I think in the next 2 weeks.
There you go, man. So we're gonna go ahead and show him some love. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. Yeah, hardest concrete in the business, baby. Diamond Hard.
That's right. Jonathan C. reminds us about the movie The Other Guy is when they quiet fight at the funeral.
That's so
That is so
stupid.
funny. Hey, before we go, well, I don't know if I want to show this guy's video. Let me see what this is. I'm trying to find the video of the South Korean actress who threw the first pitch out at the Padres-Dodgers game, which took place in South Korea. Her name is Jong Xiao. She's, I believe, 30 years old, and she's a very popular actress over there. We're showing video, and she threw the first pitch. She's very pretty, but the thing is that the reaction that we got from the Dodger players as she made her way up, the showing they were in love with her. They were absolutely in love with her. I gotta find another video of this one.
Smitten.
Yeah, I gotta find it. It is so funny. This one right here might be a good one right here, even though it's showing a girl giving a reaction to it all. But what do you think, man? What do you think of the fit?
Looks great,
wearing the
man.
Dodgers gear. By the way, the city of Los Angeles has the most number of Korean residents outside of Korea than any other city in the United States. And all the players were just gawking at her. Like time stood still. Dude, I've seen opening pitches to games where no one cares at all.
Look at Sith. He says, I started barking at my screen when she came out. Oh, God.
Let's see here. So New York Post has an article about her. It says, meet South Korean actress Jong Xiao, who became the Dodgers' first pitch sensation. And it says, members of the team watched in awe when the South Korean actress threw out the first pitch. Again, this is part of the Seoul Series game there in South Korea. She's beautiful, dude.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
She is beautiful. And it was so funny because she's so striking. And she seems natural. She doesn't seem all dolled up, or anything like that. We have the Sydney Sweeneys of the world and stuff like that. But she seemed to be very, very cute out there. God, I wish we had better video of that. There was a good TikTok about it, about all the players going out there just starstruck.
New entrant to the baddies bracket. Well, she doesn't have an OnlyFans.
Well, here she is. Here she is again. One more time.
All right, let's go ahead and check it out.
Well, here she is. She's looking nice. She's got the
that's not Marbach nice.
Sox.
That's better than Marbach nice, bro.
But she's a very natural looking person. She seems to be very sweet. There's nothing there's nothing there that seems arrogant. She just seemed to be like, yeah, I'm going out there, gonna throw the first pitch. I like baseball, all that stuff. I'm a fan. Do entrance to the batting brackets? Probably not. But we're going to test out the capabilities tonight when it comes to whether or not we can do the show from Vegas. I'm going to go ask for permission at various places, see if I can go set up shop over there. I have my envelopes.
There you go.
I got my Wednesday night money, my Thursday morning money, my Thursday night money, Friday morning money, Friday night money, and I'll get another envelope for my Saturday money as well.
Yeah. So you know what I was going to tell everybody, if they're noticing what's going on below the screens here on the bottom, we have a subscribers March goal, and you can see that we're at 745. We're almost there. 5 more, we hit 750. The other side is our super chat. Our March goal for a super chat is $199. We're at 132, so we're more than halfway there, and we still got about a week or two left in the month of March. So maybe if you guys can help us get there, it'd be great, you know. And I'm also going to wind up putting up my my QR code here, so they can go ahead and send me some money for my birthday.
Oh, there you
Cash
go.
App. So we'll start putting that up as well. We'll start running that during my birthday week, which is next Monday.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when is your party?
It's this Saturday.
This Saturday. Okay.
The invites have been sent out already. So
Okay.
if you know, you know.
What time is it at?
7
Until when?
till people start passing out.
Okay.
Brandon, my boy Brandon, Big Papi Medina is going to be the DJ.
I'm gonna try to make it, man. It depends on what time my flight comes back, because I think I leave there. Man, I might not land till about 11 p.m. over here. So
Yeah.
if it's still going strong, you know, I'll drink on the plane if I have to.
Yeah. You come here all.
Oh, crudo.
We'll have a little chair ready for you so you can take a nap. Yeah, we'll probably still be going strong by then. I mean, we're going to be in the back. We're going to have the projector and all that, the
Yeah.
lights going, the music flowing, going, and the beer will be flowing, and the drinks too.
Dude, if I start hitting my bets over there, I'm gonna be okay with the grito.
Oh,
Just to celebrate the
no.
wins.
We'll have to play some Tejano when you come.
Very cool, man. Well, everyone have a fantastic day. Again, it is Wednesday. Fill out your brackets. Let us know how you do. We have some giveaways going on next week, but we'll hopefully be doing the show from Las Vegas tomorrow morning. So be there with us, man. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Thank you to Rudy Campos Jr. again for being part of the show. Sweep the League starts at 4 o'clock. Share, like, let people know we're 5 away from 750, man. Let's make this happen. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Well, I will. You're going to be in Vegas.
I will, but I hope to be on the show.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. See ya.